From LA Late headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LA Late.
And it's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA. And in a special report today, I do something I usually don't do. I'm going to recap the entire tumultuous week we endured and why it's the start of the financial cliff. Over 2 years ago, I predicted that this economy was slowing up, and then over those last 2 years, I said that the U.S. economy would suffer persistent inflation at 8%. That has happened. That we're going to go into a 2 years recession. We are in it. And that the Federal Reserve is going to raise those rates into 2023. They are. In fact, they now say it's going to go to 2024. Moreover, I said a financial cliff was going to happen in September. It has. And today we'll be looking at the situation of all these hitting at the same time and its impact on your wallet. Amidst all this is some great news today. You're hearing it for the first time. It is breaking news. New stimulus checks coming from every U.S. state. It's different than the usual stimulus covered on this channel. I'll go over the preview of the story we're working on for Monday. It's exciting. Plus, we'll go over the nearly $100,000. You need this money. You're not going to deal with those little small state checks. $100,000 of 4 stimulus checks now available for you from the federal government. It's huge sums of money. It's about 300 checks, and it's about $100,000. And there's never been a more important time to get that money than now. Because why? We're in a financial crisis. We're in a recession. We're in a financial meltdown. Everything is going from good to worse and getting even badder after that. We'll have all the details of the impact of the markets, but more importantly, how to get those incredible sums of money. We'll go over the big success stories as viewers are getting nearly $200,000 a family from this channel in stimulus. I'll show you how to get it. You go under this video, join the channel, and you learn about all those incredible sums of money in this recording. Especially stay to the big second half as we go over every one of these incredible 14 categories of 300 checks that yield about $300,000. Plus, we'll recap what we saw this week, and we'll recap where we're going as well. It's a big recording like you've never seen before. I'm excited to be back, and the breaking news starts right here, right now, on a big Afternoons of Afternoons LA. And good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. It is a big day here on Afternoons LA. It all started, of course, with the news that broke on Tuesday. It was not news that anyone was not anticipating on the channel, but it's certainly the news that I had told you was going to cause a financial cliff. And we're going to go over all these details right now in a big afternoon show that's a little bit different than we usually do. But first, how are you? How are you doing? I'm so excited you are with me. Thank you for staying with me over the last few days. I'm going to have a lot of fun today because we have a lot to recap, and we're going to go forward with the news as well. First, let's understand where and how we got here, because boy, it's a lot to digest. I'm going to slow it down and make it easy breezy for you to understand. We had a lockdown with COVID. Then when we came out of COVID, they had a problem in the United States. And the problem was that they did not have enough people to get products from the farm to you, from the factories to you. Why? Because when we were on a lockdown, they laid those people off. They laid off the shippers, they laid off the truck drivers, and they laid off the pilots. And then when we were back off of lockdown, they didn't have those people around to hire. And they scrambled, and suddenly they didn't have those people. It caused something called supply chain disruption. And supply chain disruption is really the reason why we're having all the major problems in the U.S. economy right now. And not just here, a lot of these problems, but internationally. And supply chain disruption has not gone away. It is the inability to get the product from the factory to you or from the farm to you as quickly and at the same price point as they had before. That is why the eggs in the supermarket are not $1 a dozen, they're $4 a dozen, because it costs them more money to get the product to you. That was the first problem. The second problem was the rising price of gasoline. As Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine in the month of March, it surged the gasoline prices through the roof. Those two problems caused massive inflation. Now, here is what to know, is that last year, in spring of last year, we did not have, spring of 2021, we did not have Putin because Putin invaded Ukraine this year. And I said, based upon that supply chain disruption alone, we have a major problem, and it's going to be inflation. And I said in spring of 2021 that inflation is going to hit at 8% in December and be pervasive and not go away. Now imagine how important those recordings were then. Because had anyone listened to you and I then, we would never have any of these problems we have today. And all these problems we're having today are going to continue for 2 more years because no one was listening to the problems of 2021. What did they say? They instead said there was going to be a little bit of inflation, 3 or 4%, and it was only going to be, remember my finger at the time? My finger at the time moved a lot. I did this on camera. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. Remember when I did that on camera? It was a graph of what everyone was telling you at the time. Not me, them. Transitory. Fancy word. I never used the word transitory in my language ever before. It's a fancy word for temporary. They said it was going to go up, inflation, go back down. Temporary, transitory. I said they're wrong. It's going to be 8% in December and it's not going to go away. And by about February, people started to realize it hasn't gone away. What's going on? It hasn't gone away. It's like the nephew that moved into the basement. He hasn't gone away. Get him to go away, Gladys. He hasn't gone away. So it had not gone away. Suddenly they realized their storyline was wrong. And who was it? The Federal Reserve. One of the narratives we saw this week was a lot of people were very upset with Jay Powell and company because they have never admitted that they got this really wrong. They never admitted their narrative that inflation was going to be temporary, transitory, was wrong, and that they misguided on this and let it slide. Why was this so bad? This was really bad because when inflation started in December, they let it happen, and then they still didn't do anything. What happened in January, February? They came in with these interest rate spikes. And at the time, this is the Federal Reserve, I said to you, this is a problem, folks. You and I all understood this. The Federal Reserve wants to bring inflation down by raising interest rates to battle a problem with a truck driver. Does that make any sense? Of course it does not. It's like showing up in lobster shorts at the Senate dining room. It doesn't make any sense. And I said, why is Jay Powell raising interest rates to battle truck drivers on the highway? It doesn't make any sense. I said, he's not going to solve supply chain disruption by raising interest rates, but he did. He went ahead and did raise those interest rates at quarter, not enough, quarter, not enough, half, not enough, and then went to 3/4, still not enough. And suddenly we realized, this ain't working. not us, they. We understood it was not going to work. And at that point, that showed us that you really needed to get, pause. You can finish the sentence. What did you really need to get at that point? Jump in the live chat, write the rest of the sentence. I know you know the answer to the sentence. At that point, by March, the viewership of this channel, The Purple Power, knew you need to really go get a forced stimulus check. You had to go get a forced stimulus check because we knew there was something really going on wrongly here. In March of 2020, viewers said, LA, can you find us a forced stimulus check? Because Jay Powell is really messing up badly, and this is going to get worse. And Congress is not, and the president, it's just, can you go get us a forced stimulus check? And I did. Thank goodness you were so smart. Thank goodness you were so on top of the ball. You have been trained well by me, and you have gotten even smarter. You said, go get us a stimulus check. And this is March. And I did, and I looked, and I found 3 categories of checks. Checks A, B, and C. Those yield about $100,000. And immediately viewers started getting them. Viewers started getting them. And how do you get them? You go into this video, you become a member. We're going to go over each of these checks in a second, so don't worry. So if you're just new to this channel, I'm going to go over all these incredible checks. Those first 3 checks, let's just show the first 3 checks. Here we go. A, B, and C. He said, Elliot, can you find us checks in March? Because there's something going wrong with this economy. You've trained us to look for the wrongness, and we really sense there's something going wrong. Can you get us checks? And I found them in March, $100,000. Viewers, that night, the first check I found, I said, hey, breaking news report. We're going into a special report on this channel. I found you these checks. I need you to go get them right now. I agree with you. There's something going wrong. Checks A, B, and C, $100,000. 3 categories of checks. We're going to go over all this in a second. How do you get them? You become a member. Go around this video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. There are checks A, B, and C. Here's example. B, Frank Mancuso, 18 months of mortgage, 18 months, and he says check B, 18 months of utilities, 18 months of high-speed internet. And viewers started getting these sums of money. Now, that was so smart by you. Because remember what I had said, always get money on the come. Purple Hawks are about pouncing, getting money before there's problems. You do things way in advance. I've always told my viewers as well to do things ahead of time, not a week ahead of time, months ahead of time. So that was March. Guess what also happened in March? In March, my projections started coming on in. By February, the month before, I said, you know what? I'm looking at the data here, and I'm projecting that the U.S. economy will suffer a 2-year recession starting in 2023. Now, how shocking was it at the time? I want to give you something I've never said before on camera. It's very personal, and it's very insightful, but I also, I want to share it with you because I have this very distinct image with it. I'm having problems with my left leg. Not horrible, but in February, it was much worse. And in February, I had a personal trainer, and he's stretching my leg. And he says, so what are you thinking about everything? I said, well, you know, you're ready for the recession. I think the guy nearly broke my, didn't really break my leg, but I think he almost dropped my leg. I'm like, wait a second, what are you doing there? I'm making this a little bit more comedic, but the reaction by him was like he had just, he had walked into a block of ice. It's like, what? Recession? I haven't heard that word for like 10 years. You, Elliot, why is it going to be a recession? And so I basically explained to him in February that the next time I saw him a week later, the visual of this is why I got to tell you the story, because the visual of this is just explaining the situation. He was so shocked, I think he literally was about to pull his hair out. And because the word recession is a very scary word, it really is. The next week, he asked me again about it. I didn't bring it up. He brought it up. Can you tell me about that recession? Why are you talking about recession? I haven't heard about this anywhere. Well, I explained to him as I explained it to you. And here was what you and I saw. And this is sort of what we're dealing with all these incredible stimulus checks, is that we had all these banks that have very brilliant people on staff that are very highly educated, very well trained, and then their heads, like the head of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, refused to use the word recession. Other bank heads refused to use the word recession in February and March. And then we finally had Deutsche Bank, brilliant bank, say out in about April, they believe there's going to be a recession. I said, finally, someone's validated what I'm saying. At the time, I also then about March, I believe it was, started to deliver you some graphics on this channel. And these graphics basically said, this is what you need to prepare for accordingly. And I said there's going to be a financial cliff in September. A financial cliff in September. And that financial cliff is going to hit really dramatically. I don't know if I have those graphics on this show. I may have them on the evening show. And the graphics, oh, I do here. Okay, so I do have the graphics. Here was the graphic I debuted around March or April. This graphic was phases of the economy. I said you need to be prepared for September because it's a financial cliff. And I explained what a financial cliff is. Let me explain again. It is basically when the status quo is no longer around. What you're living with right now is no longer around, and suddenly gets very bad very quickly, and you did not know that was going to happen. And as though you're walking along, you believe the ground is stable, everything's fine, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, you fall off a cliff. You walk over a cliff. That's the concept of financial cliff. And then I said phase 3 is January, is the start of the recession. I described phase one. Actually, I said now, so that was referring to about April. I said April to September, it's going to slow down, but it's not going to be a financial cliff. And then I showed you a series of graphics of what to do, and one of them was raise your savings, remove your debt. I remember Terry Rose said, "Thank you, Elliot." I did that immediately. He did that when I said that in April. Imagine people who have not done it still yet. We'll go over their impact as well. So that is where we were by April. Finally, we had clearly a problem in July. And that problem in July was perhaps the most telling, shockingly, almost, it has a bad taste in your mouth situation. It was that stocks and stocks in the markets had really crashed in the month of May when we had bad corporate earnings coming in from Walmart or Target. And then everyone said it's a bad economy, get ready. But then suddenly they started to try to tell you to buy stocks in June, and people started buying it. Buy some more. It was a little bit like a peer pressure. Buy some more. Buy. And people try to encourage you, not me, to buy stocks, buy crypto, buy housing, buy cars in June and July and early August. And they were running up. And I said, get ready, because those people have really sold you out. They're after their wallet. They're after getting your transactional fees to get you to buy stocks. They want to make money on the transaction. They're the closing costs. They want to get closing costs. They want to get something out of you. They're going to get fried because this market's going to collapse. Why? We knew the historic numbers. A recession, stocks are down 40 to 50%. They were only down about 12%. And they're telling you to buy when they're only down 12%, when they're supposed to go down 40%. You're going to get fried. You're going to get absolutely burned. And I said, stay away. Do not buy anything. We had people out there telling you, buy stocks. And I said, big trouble. But what did they do? They took the statements from Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve, and they threw them away every time it came out. Governors would come out from the Federal Reserve one at a time telling us, we're going to stay with these interest rate spikes till we get inflation to 2%. And we're not stopping. And then Wall Street said they're going to stop in October of this year. And then the next governor said, did you hear what Wall Street said? We're saying we're staying with this for a while. And then Wall Street said again, they're going to stop in October. And then the Fed governors got a little bit more pissed. They said, no, you know what? You need to understand, we need to be a little bit more direct with you. It was their way of politely saying that you're not listening. Then finally, Jay Powell, about 3 weeks ago, said, let me make this more direct. We're staying with this for a while. And I think it was Loretta Mester who has said it the best. We have 2% as our target inflation rate. We're likely to continue this into next year, those interest rate spikes. And I said, hey, here's my next projection. I'm going to repeat my projection is repeating a Loretta Mester. Thank you, Loretta. Loretta led us exactly to where they're heading, an interest rate spike for the whole rest of this year, next year. That is not one more interest rate spike. And then Jay Powell spoke on Tuesday. And what did he say? Yeah, Elliot was right. We're doing interest rate spikes the whole rest of this year. I'm not stopping October. And we're doing them in next year as well. But surprise, surprise, said Jay Powell. without using the word surprise, surprise. I'm also doing interest rate spikes into 2024. Now, how much of a shock was that for me? A little bit of a shock. But how much of a shock for you was it? It should not have been that much of a shock. Because you and I had all discussed that he needs to get inflation down to 2%, and it's at 8.6%, and it doesn't move that quickly with these interest rate spikes. Markets went down 200 points on the news. And you know what I said during that recording? It was on Tuesday. Last time that Jay Powell did this, the markets went down 200 points that day, but it was the day after they crashed. And they did. They crashed the day after this last Wednesday. And they continue to go down the day after. And here is where we are up to now, the present. First, let me go right into your benefits. The breaking news you're hearing because I told you there's a lot happened in this recording. The breaking news you're hearing right now today for your benefits is the following. 1, your benefits may be going up even more than I was even recording just a few days ago. How did this happen? Let's go back over. Let me tell you why first, and then we'll go over the calculation. The reason why is that The AAA national average of gasoline in the United States since about, I think it was Wednesday, has been going up. If you read that membership newsletter as a strong member of the Purple Power community, really carefully, and starting, I think, Friday, I started to put an up or down arrow next to gasoline. I never featured it before. But if you were looking at the number, remembering the number, you would have saw that starting around Tuesday this week, for the first time since almost February, it has now started to go back up. Since February, it was going down, down, down. Every day it was going down. For the last few weeks, it was going down about 10 cents a day, 20 cents a day. And then around Monday, it didn't move. I thought, that's interesting. It didn't really move. And then Tuesday, it went up a few cents. Wednesday, it went up about 10 cents. And then, so you see what's happening. The AAA national average is going up. And starting on Friday in the membership newsletter, I now feature an up or down arrow like I do for stocks and crypto. So you see which direction the gasoline's going. Yes, so now you see how this is big news for your benefits. The big news for your benefits is that this raise of gasoline domestically could signal that CPI-W, oh baby, this is looking good. I told you to stay with me during this recording. That CPI-W for the month of September, which we're recording during right now, may actually be higher than 8.9. It may actually be higher because the only number that was expected to go lower this month, the gasoline, is now heading the other direction. And how many more days do we have left in the month? We still have a couple more days. This is shocking news. This is why you have to get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Those other forced stimulus checks that were followed by the president were done by Congress. Let's go over the other stimulus checks that happened after those first three. The first three we went over were check A, B, and C, done by the President of the United States in the month of March. That's $100,000. Then Congress came along and did other checks, E through K. And those incredible checks are absolutely huge. Those were followed by more checks, and I found them for you. And they are now in the membership newsletter. They are L and M, N and O, P and Q. These are all incredible stimulus checks in every U.S. state. How do you get this? You become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. But the surprising news, I told you there's a lot happening in this recording. I'm trying to make sure I get it all in here, is that debuting this Monday, I will have new check Ds. We haven't talked about check Ds on this channel a lot. Check D is for donut. I had this laugh with Dragon over the weekend. Check D is for donut because it's very donut-y. It's for people who don't want to do anything and just put their hand out and say, I don't want to do anything. She just put a check in my hand. Check D for donut. It's for those checks that come from states. Now, those checks that come from states are very small. But the breaking news is that a lot of states have now announced they're doing state stimulus checks. And those check Ds are about less than $1,500. They average about $1,000. So they're very, very, very small. I do not want you to get dependent upon $1,000 check. That's going to last you about 30 days. That's not going to survive a 2-year recession. But I got the great news for you is I had those incredible new check Ds come in on Monday on this channel. The income eligibility is almost the same as we've always had on this channel. You do have to file tax returns, and it's for generally almost all states. I'll have all the states in this recording coming up in a second. But again, I do not want you to be looking for a $1,000 check. It's not going to pay your bills past 30 days of a 2 recession where people are going to lose their shirts. I need you to do the other checks, those 14 categories that yield $300,000, baby. And that is what you need. You need tens of thousands of dollars of stimulus to survive this economy, not $600 stimulus checks. That's just, it's selling us, but there is new money. And $600, hey, you can get some $12 ice cream for that. Maybe 4 $12 ice creams for $600 stimulus checks. Now let's go back to those benefit raises. Those benefit raises, this is really huge, exciting news. The CPI-W in the month of July was an 8.7. The CPI-W in the month of August was an 8.9. And the CPI-W for this month, September, will be released on October 13th. Those 3 CPI-Ws determine your COLA number for this year. And that COLA number for this year determines how much your benefits are going up a lifetime, baby, because once your benefits go up, they never go down. Yes, your benefits are raised based upon COLA, and it's determined by that CPI-W for July, 8.7, August, 8.9, and this month of September be released in October. We've discussed this number a lot, but the twist that is happening, that is breaking news today, is not the milk and the eggs, not the salaries, and not the rent, but suddenly the gasoline going higher. No one expected this, and I certainly didn't expect this as well. I'll explain to you in a second why. So, before we go more into the analysis, jump in the live chat. With that 8.7 CPI in July, and that's 8.9 in August, I had said the CPI-W in the month of September, 8.9, comma, California, is my response. What is my thought today? Well, we got a couple more days in this month, but I'm starting to head maybe close to 9.0, comma, California. It's somewhere, it's like an 8.95, like halfway there, because I need to see a few more days of this data. I'm clearly at an 8.95, but I may be heading to a 9.0, comma, California. Jump in the live chat. I want you to write now with the news that the gasoline is suddenly surging higher very quickly in the United States at AAA national average, that you believe that suddenly the CPI in the month of September is different or changing. Again, here's our background. July 8.7, August 8.9. I want you to write the number, comma, your state in the live chat. Why and how are we able to do this? Because the Federal Reserve did not meet in the month of August. They did not impact inflation at all. And whatever they did this Tuesday with a 75 basis point announced on Tuesday, it doesn't impact the U.S. economy for several weeks. All the other items in the inflation are going up. Jump in the live chat with me because we're going to do this as well. We're going to do what we usually do on this channel, but, it's been a couple of days, so maybe your opinion has changed. I want you to get ready to respond. I'm going to say the item, and I want you to say the item up or down, comma, your state. So here we go. Let's go over the first one. Actually, let me do 3 warm-ups so you understand how this works. The 3 warm-ups are easy. We already know these answers. Medical bills. Medical bills up, comma, California, or nationwide. I mean, this is very easy. They're not going down anywhere in any state. Medical bills went up in the month of August about 1%, 0.8% compared to the prior month. Then the second warm-up number is the rent. The rent went up 0.8% in the month of August compared to the month of July. The last one is the salaries went up 0.2% in the month of August compared to the month of July. So those 3 numbers are all easy. That's easy warm-up. We all know rent, salaries, and medical bills are going up. All right, so let's do some fun stuff. You ready? Let's do the first one. Eggs. My answer, eggs, comma, up, comma, California. They're just going up. They just do not stop. I mean, what are eggs going to be? A dozen eggs in Los Angeles is going to be $5. I mean, they're just out of control. And when you buy that bigger pack, I mean, the big pack, I would sometimes buy at some of the Mexican markets in Los Angeles. The big pack would used to be like $3. I mean, used to just a few months ago. Now they went $7. I mean, the more eggs you buy, the more they raise the price on you. Right in the live chat, what do you think about eggs? Milk. Milk is flat. Milk is not really changing that much here in Los Angeles. Butter. I haven't done this one. Let's do some butter. I can't believe it's not butter. Butter, comma, up, comma, California. Butter is one of those big items that's raising. What do you think? Is butter going up where you live, Georgette? I can't. I butchered that one. The third one, the total grocery bill. The total grocery bill. When you go to check out at the supermarket, check out, is the total grocery bill up, down, comma, your state? My answer is changing. The total it's more changing. I had said before, grocery bill up, comma, California. Now, as of what I saw 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago at, can I do this? I think I can. I went to Smart & Final. Their prices were really up. So much up. I'm not going back. Smart & Final, comma, up, comma, too much, comma, California. I'm just not going back. Their prices were just insane. I mean, I picked up a bag of cherries. I think it was $2.69 a pound. I thought, how many pounds are in this bag? It's not that light. I went over and weighed it 3 pounds. I'm like, I'm not paying $7 for a bag of cherries. You crazy? I'll cut down so much cherry tree. No, I will not. So there you go. Jump in the live chat. Groceries up, comma down, and comma your state. So with all those numbers, I mean, they're all going up month to month. And then suddenly, this is why you want to become a member. The price of gasoline is going up suddenly in the United States. Why is it? Let me just explain this because it's not that hideously important. The reason why gasoline is going up is because what we knew. September is a volatile month for weather, and weather with hurricanes in the Gulf and hurricanes in the Atlantic, they causes refineries to be offline, and when refineries are offline, they produce less gasoline, and that's why gasoline prices are going up. We had discussed this a long time on the channel, so I always told you September is when gasoline prices go up, and that's happening right now. By the way, the international price of Brent crude has fallen dramatically to $88, $89 a barrel. So that's not really as directly impacting on the CPI as that AAA national average. Very fascinating. In the big second half, we're going to go over all these incredible checks. I know that was a lot. Wasn't that a lot in this first half of this recording? I told you it's going to be a different recording, but I love that we did it, and I love that you've been so on top of the ball game. What do you need to do? Go under this video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. And in the big second half, we're going to go over each of these incredible stimulus checks. For you, monster checks, upwards of 300,000 over 14 categories. We're going to go over all those incredible checks. And we'll go over how you get them and the success stories that viewers have had as well. Do you want these big sums of money? Of course you do. You go in this video, join the channel, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Plus, we'll look forward to what's happening this new week, as more is happening with the financial meltdown of the markets. We'll go over those markets as well in the big second half. As a big recording continues, see you back in 60 seconds on Afternoons LA.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Daily for the excitement of the new LA live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA at 9 a.m. Home LA returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late.
And the excitement continues right now on a big second half for Afternoons LA for September 24, 2022. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, hope you're having a beautiful day. Let's get some checks. We're going to go over all those incredible checks right now. 14 categories, 300 checks, huge across the board. Let's recap those checks. The first 3 checks are A, B, and C, passed by the President of the United States by executive action in the month of March. It's about $100,000 of checks. Those first 3 are huge, and the eligibility for all these checks are about the same. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get them. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get them. If you rent, if you own, if you have children, if you don't have children. Again, this is federal stimulus from the federal government. I don't really cover checks from your state, even though I will on Monday, some more check Ds from the states. These are federal stimulus checks, A, B, and C. Then, after these were done by the President of the United States, A, B, and C, along came Congress that did checks E through K. more federal stimulus checks. These incredible checks E through K are huge, 7 categories. Thereafter, I found you checks for Purple Power in L and M, N and O, P and Q. They are all in the membership newsletter. How do you get those? You become a member, then you get that membership newsletter, and you go get each of the incredible checks. Let's go over these checks right now. The first check is a $6,500 to $12,000 fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. It's Check A. Check A, $6,500 to $12,000. Absolutely incredible. The next check done by the President of the United States by that executive action was Check B, $15,000 to $80,000. Fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. Then we had Check C, which has been around even before this year. Check C, I've been getting people since 2020. I've gotten viewers nearly $50 million for this channel, and Check C has been around since the darkest days of the lockdown. And viewers have done so well with this incredible Check C. How do you get it? Go into the membership newsletter. It tells you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. Here are some of the success stories for Check C. Viewers are getting $30,000 of rent for Check C. Viewers are getting these monster sums of money for utilities, $15,000. And then they're getting great numbers for SNAP. We have one viewer getting $250,000 combinations. They're getting upwards of $50,000. Here's Nisi, she was at 23, she went to $50,000. Here's Mark, he was at $32,000. He went to $166,000 because he went to this graphic, and then he went to 100, and then he went to 166. And here's Lorraine, she was at 105, and then Shelley, she went to 150. Those are the incredible checks A, B, and C. Then along came Congress. Congress came along and then suddenly established checks E through K. And those incredible checks E through K are just wonderful. They are just something for everyone. My favorite in here is N. So let's look at those incredible checks E through K. E is $7,500 towards a car. Wow. F is $4,000 also for a car. G is 30% off. H is $2,000 for home appliances. Just for home appliances, just incredible. I is $8,000. J is $8,000, and K is $14,000 for other appliances around the house. That's insane. Now that's absolutely incredible. Isn't that wonderful? I love that. That is E through K, all in the membership. E through K, yes, all in the membership newsletter done by Congress. Then I found you other checks. The next checks I found you were L, like Larry, and M, like Mo. I don't know where that came from. Yeah, I do know where that came from. If you're in Southern California. Larry and Mo, the Pep Boys. Bob Bacon and Andrew, I love that. L like lots and M like money. That's more normal there. Larry and Mo got into a financial show. It's $100,000 of loan interest free money in Al, and Mo has $4,000 of free grant money. It's all the membership newsletter. You find that under the Larry and Mo stimulus. Check N is my favorite. Stimulus N. Stimulus N is free internet and also $100 towards a brand new laptop, a desktop computer from participating provider. I mean, that's incredible. Some of the best tablets out there. Did I say tablet? I think I forgot to say tablet. Some of the best tablets out there are less than $100. So this is just perfect. I love the Stimulus N. It's just incredible. Imagine I got appliances, I got car stuff, I got money for cars, I got a free internet, I got laptops, I got computers, I got everything for you. Oh, 0 down payment, 0 closing costs, no credit check, no insurance for the purchase of a first home. Just incredible. And then P and Q look a little bit similar, but it's better for some people. If you have a home and you want to refi, then it's really great. It's less than 3%, and they'll give you $8,000 of closing costs. And there you go. That is 14 categories of stimulus checks. 14 categories of stimulus checks. About 300 checks and about $300,000. Let's go over some success stories. Longtime viewer Dragon, she was at $140,000. And then this last week, she got $30,000 on top of that, bringing her grand total to $170,000. You've met Lorraine and Mark. They're both clearly over $166,000 right now. There's Johnny, who started on Monday. By Wednesday, he had $45,000 in 2 days, 48 hours. He had $45,000 on this channel. By Friday, he had $80,000. Now, I want to use Johnny as well. Let me tell the entire story for Johnny, and I'll go back to how he did this. Then the next week, he reached out to his mom and dad, got them each $50,000. And then over the next few weeks, he helped about 20 neighbors and friends get about $250,000. Johnny's a very important example why, by getting $45,000 in 2 days, did he make one phone call? No. By getting $80,000 by Friday, which is really 4 days. If he started on Monday, it's 4 days. Did he make 2 phone calls or 3 phone calls to get $8,000? No. Johnny made, because he told me, 15 phone calls to get $80,000 between Monday and Friday. 18 phone calls. He put 18, it should be, did I say 18? 15 phone calls. He made 15 phone calls, put in 15 applications in 4 days. 15 applications he put in, because ultimately he got paid by 7 programs. He got paid by 7 programs that Friday, paying him $80,000. Why is that example so important? Because now and then, I saw one time this week, but I never know how many times this is happening. So I want to make sure I'm addressing you if you're that person. Sometimes people make one phone call and get a no and then stop. That, I say this of dear love and a lot of tough love towards you. That's you being lazy. You're being lazy. If you're reaching out to one place and you're stopping with a no. Johnny had no's. I used to always say it a lot, but I'm going to say it more now on this channel. You're going to get a 50% rejection rate. So Johnny reached out and got 7 programs approved in 4 days in 15 phone calls. 7 out of 15 means he had 8 rejections. You're going to have about 50% rejection rate. So if you call up 4, expect to have 2 no's. So people who say I reached out to my county and they said they don't have any money and I stopped. So I'm really not into this. You're lazy. You're lazy. I'm going to say that with a smile. You're really lazy, because I got 300 checks and you reached out to one place and called it quits. Yeah, you're lazy. Maybe you're very rich also, because there's a 2-year recession coming on. And if you can be that lazy to say, hey, you know what? I'm good. I just made one phone call. I didn't get any money. I'm going to stop. Good. I guess you're really rich, because there's 2 years of recession. And that's the type of laziness that's going to cause people to be really behind in a recession. Why do I address that subject matter today? Because it is September. It is the start of the financial cliff. But the real hurt of this economy has really not happened. I've always said that real hurt is in January. How bad of a hurt is this? Jeremy Siegel, the Wharton School of Business economist and professor who I featured a lot on this channel, said this is going to be a very dark recession, a very deep and dark recession. And if you're ever on YouTube just sort of searching around over the last 2 years, there have often been a lot of YouTube broadcasters during the times in which things were straight up that did a lot of videos where things were, oh my God, shocking, horrible. Oh, I'm crying. And they have that facial reaction on the thumbnail that they're sad and they're crying and they're shocked and they're horrified. But the times are great. Their business model was always to tell you things were horrible when things are great. Let's be very frank. Everything is going to be very horrible now. So I want you to understand that you may have thought, it's just someone on YouTube telling me it's horrible, but it's really a great economy. Everything's going to be really wonderful. Everyone's going to make a lot of money over the next 2 years. No, it's going to be a really bad economy. So I need you to be prepared for it. Let me go over what's going to happen with this economy. There is not going to be a part of the economy that's going to do well. Every part is going to get hurt. Stocks. However far down stocks are right now, they got a long way down. On Friday, most of the major tech stocks that are usually one of the best investments were down 6% in one day. Stocks like FedEx took major crashes of 16% plus in one day. You're going to see stocks lose half of their value or more. And sometimes it's going to take them a while to get down that 50%. In my prediction, you're going to see Bitcoin going to 15,000. In my prediction, you're going to see Ethereum go to 800. In my prediction, you're going to see a lot of the crypto coins basically wiped out. I think things that you always used to hear about, like Shiba and Dogecoin, wiped out, gone. I mean, they're going to be ridiculous. It's going to have absolutely no value whatsoever. My Decentraland viewers, I think Decentraland will stabilize. It has stayed relatively calm over the last few days. 75.69, 75.69. I don't think it's going to go to 20 cents or anything like that. So I think you're all fine. Housing. If you were buying housing on a speculative purpose, God bless you, because you're going to get smashed. You're going to get really, really smashed. No one's going to be able to afford a house to buy on a mortgage that's going, in my prediction, to 7%. It's a 6% 30-year fix right now, and I'm projecting it's going to go 7%. No one can afford a house on 7%. The people who are into a house and need to get out now. The people who have to get in a house, I don't know why you would get into it right now. The rent is going to go back up. So if you're renters and an apartment use situation, it's going to go up. The next industry that I predicted is going to really go under badly is auto. I think auto is going to crash dramatically because most auto sales are dependent upon people buying on credit, and no one's going to be able to afford these credit numbers from the Federal Reserve. And I believe auto is going to really lose its shirt. And then finally, those people who just spend. We talked about them over the summer. These are the people who, there were a lot of reports that said they were running their credit cards to the max to travel and go to summer concert series for $2,000 a pop. And now it's September, and they're like, excuse me. And finally, the last thing you know, we've discussed this a long time on this channel, the last thing to fall apart in recession, the last, is labor. I'm projecting, and I don't want to scare you, but I'm projecting that some of the retail Fortune 500 companies that are really struggling right now will no longer be with us. They will no longer be with us at the end of the 2-year recession. You're going to hear them say something one morning like we're closing 20 stores in 3 states. Then after that, they're going to say that didn't work, and we're going to have to file for Chapter 11 restructuring. Yeah, they're going to go bankrupt. A lot of major retailers will go bankrupt. And a lot of businesses that are not sound at the moment, are publicly traded businesses, are going to go under. Small mom and pops that are very debt-laden, that have lots of debt, they're going to go under. And I want to make this very clear to you. There's no EIDL grant. There's no EIDL loan. There's no PPP loan. You had that assistance for COVID. It's not there anymore. I have for you this, and I will look for you more of this. I got $300,000 of forcible checks for you and your family and your household, but I have nothing for business assistance. It's not around. And those businesses are going to get wiped out, and I know it's very sad that you survived a pandemic with me to help save your business, but now your business may go under because of interest rates going through the roof, and because the consumer may not spend anymore. Yeah, that's where we're going. And so this, my friends, is why we do things ahead of time. This is why you stockpile cash. This is why you get as much stimulus as you can. The viewers of this channel, that's why we did a different video today that said in March, I sense there's a problem on the horizon. Can you get us some money? Get us the money right now. This is what I teach on this channel called Stimulus Stampede. You get the money before the problems happen because this money may not be around indefinitely. I don't know. And anyone that sits around and says, oh, I'm so excited about a $600 state stimulus check. $600, that ain't even going to pay the bills for 2 months. You need tens of thousands of dollars. And I got it for you. And I always got your back. I look forward to seeing you on Evenings LA tonight. Go into this video, become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Powercast, VIP. If you like today's broadcast, which is a little bit different as well, jump under the video and post a comment about the economy, the recession, your inflation, what you think is going on as well. Lots of stimulus and lots coming up tonight on Evenings LA. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, it's all getting started. I'll see you tonight in prime time at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time as LA continues.